Welcome, welcome, my kings and queens, to We Too Can Make It All Right Live. I am your host, Tara, and
I'm your co-host, Reggie Reg, a voice from the streets.
This is a show for the people where we discuss various topics in music, society, culture, politics, and world events. There is absolutely no tolerance of defamation to anyone's character. Speak facts, and we can show enough talk. Oh, today I am feeling so special. Today, we are honored and truly privileged to have a king in the building. He is one of Yes, he is one of the founding members of the legendary pop and R&B group Kool the Gang, 7-time Grammy Award winner. Wow, American Music Awards, multi-platinum. He's just done it all. Kool the Gang has sold over 80 million albums worldwide and influenced the music of generations. I'm talking about no other than Mr. Robert Kool Bell. How are you, King?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for blessing the show. Let's start with the creation of a legacy, where it all began. How and when did you discover your love for music?
Well, the group started back in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
We had several names. One of the names was the Jazzy Acts,
Mm-hmm.
then the Soul Town Band,
Okay.
then Kool and the Flames,
Wow.
and then Kool and the Gang.
Wow.
Now, let me go back to the Jazzy Acts. The Jazzy Acts was
Yes.
our love for jazz, especially my late brother and a lot of other members.
Mm-hmm.
We listened to Miles Davis, of course, John Coltrane,
That was the man.
you know,
Yeah.
Thelonious Monk,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the jazz artists during that time.
Wow. That's great.
Then we got involved with the Soul Town Review. Now, the Soul Town Review was trying to be like the Motown Review.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we became the Soul Town Band.
Okay.
So we would have to learn songs from Motown, and maybe twice a month we'd do shows,
Mm-hmm.
and we would have to learn those songs, and they were doing
Wow.
a lot of the Motown is. So then we moved on,
Mm-hmm.
and we changed our name to Kool and the Flames.
Kool and the Flames.
And we had a problem because you had James Brown and the Famous Flames.
Right. Right.
So, you know, we didn't want to have any problem with the Godfather. So we thought, well, what are we going to call ourselves? So one of
Right.
our first producers and managers,
Mm-hmm.
a guy by the name of Gene Red, said, well, why don't you just change Flame to Gang?
That
And
sounds right.
that's what we did.
Yeah.
Made more sense.
Yes.
And our first record came out July 3rd, 1969.
Wow.
And the name of the record was called Kool and the Gang. The album was Kool and the Gang. And everything was
Kool and the Gang.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
And then we pushed our ways to the 70s, you know.
I know that's
Okay.
right. How many instruments you play? Because you tear that bass guitar up.
No, actually, the bass is the only instrument that I play. My brother played several instruments,
Mm-hmm.
both of my brothers. But I was playing a little congas, bongos back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, I was born in Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And we moved to Jersey City in 1960.
All right.
But in Youngstown, my brother and I used to get these paint cans, and depending on how much paint was at the bottom of the can,
Mm-hmm.
created
The sound?
a tone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And we used to sit there and beat these paint cans before we moved to Jersey City. So I was playing bongos. My mother finally got me a pair of bongos and congas, and then I gravitated to the bass guitar.
Wow.
Okay.
As you are an inspiration to so many cool, who inspires you?
Well, back in the day, I mean, I used to listen to little Stevie Wonder. And we're about the same age. I remember when he came to Youngstown, Ohio.
Really?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder. And, of course, on the jazz side, the Jazz Crusaders, we were listening to, Reggie Workman, the bass player.
Okay.
With jazz. That's who I also listened to also. And, the Jazz Crusaders definitely was a progressive group in the 60s going to the 70s.
That was...
Then, of course, James Brown and
Yes.
Sly and the Family Stones.
Wow.
And, then we moved on up,
You know what? Prior, I was talking about Take My Heart. And I don't know what it is. Like, every time I hear... So I'm an R&B. I'm just old school. I can't help it. I know that we have to revolve in time with the music, but it's just something about that old school. And every time I hear that song, it just seemed like y'all just recorded it.
Yeah, well, we were inspired by Marvin Gaye, of course.
For that song?
Yeah.
Really? Tell me about it.
Well, you notice part of the song where JT said, when he said, ooh, ooh, just like Marvin, you know what I mean? You ever heard that on the record?
Yes, yes.
We're talking about Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That part when he said, ooh, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Now that he
like
mentioned
Marvin, huh? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Marvin, you can have it, baby, if you want it.
Yes, yes.
If you really want it, you can have it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Come on over here.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, is there anything like within the essence of the music you've created, if you could like do it all over again, would you change anything about it?
No, not really. Yeah, I have a saying that you live and learn, and then you learn to live.
I like that.
And we had a song called "Love the Life You Live." Mm-hmm. Back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So we went through it. I mean, all the various changes and dealing with the ups and downs and dealing with the politics of the music.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't change anything. It was just a story of our lives. As a matter of fact, we'll be doing a documentary, and we're working on a book.
Okay.
Right.
And eventually, as everyone
I know it'll
else,
be a
movie.
bestseller.
Yes, it's going to definitely be a bestseller.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
I got a working title.
All right.
Hollywood Swinger.
Yes, Hollywood.
#1.
No doubt.
With a bullet.
All right.
Hollywood Swinging, #1 with a bullet.
With a bullet.
Now, Bullet was Cashbox, Record World, and Billboard. When you get to #1, you have a bullet.
All right.
The other side of that fence is those who control the business.
Okay, I knew it had to be
We
some
might
type
do
of,
it, tell it all, but yeah.
Yeah. I knew it had to be some type of science behind that title.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Besides being, one of the greatest, when or what was it that happened when y'all realized we made it?
It was, I would say, the mid 70s. We had like territorial hits like Funky Man, Funky Granny, Breezing Soul. Our hits was like from Philadelphia to Washington and back around Jersey. Mm-hmm. So the record company came to us and said, "Listen, you guys, you've been doing okay with territorial hits, but they wanted to expand." And at that time, Mongo Dibango, or Dibango, with a proper pronunciation of his word, he had the hit Soul Makusa. And the producer of Soul Makusa met with the record company, and the record company wanted us to do something with the producer.
Okay, now, wait a minute. Soul Makusa, sing a little bit of that. Is that the...
Bum of the bum of the bum 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 da da.
Mama Cool,
Mama
Mama
Cool,
Cool,
Mama
Mama
Cool.
Cool. Okay, that's it. Okay. All right.
And so we had one meeting with the producer, and we weren't feeling it.
Oh.
So we went to a studio called Baggies in Soho area. And we went in there around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we started jamming. By midnight, we had created funky stuff, Hollywood swinging,
That's my
and
jam.
jungle boogie.
That's my jam.
So, needless to say, no more problems from the record company.
Right.
Hollywood swinging and jungle boogie was top 5. Pop, R&B, funky stuff was 6 or 7 weeks. You know. So at that time, we thought we had made it, and we
Yeah.
did well.
Very.
Yeah, during
Very
that
well.
time. Then right after that, we did Summer Madness, which became a very big record for us.
Yeah.
That is.
In terms of, see, Summer Madness was on the B side of Spirit of the Boogie, and there was a DJ in Chicago. He flipped the record to the B side.
Okay.
And he asked his audience, "Well, who do you think this is?" He said, "Well, Herbie Hancock or Donald Byrd." Or he said, "No, this is Kool the Gang."
Okay.
Wow.
And Summer Madness became a very big
And it
record.
took off.
It took off, yeah. During that time period. And then we had another soundtrack, Open Sesame. That
You
was,
did that too?
yeah, that was on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack,
Yes.
Open Sesame. And then we go back to Summer Madness, was also in the Rocky movie.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, when he was laying down, whether he gonna win or not, and he's thinking, and they started playing Summer Madness.
Yes, yes.
So, so anyway, and then of course the Rocky movie with John Travolta, Travolta and the Bee Gees and those guys. Yeah.
Wow.
How do you feel about you know, the artists, the newer artists sampling your music?
Well, we feel pretty good about that. In the beginning, there was no control over sampling until they cleared sampling rights. But before that, everybody was just
So it
sampling.
was just free range.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to put somebody on sample patrol. See, find out what's going on. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But and if I'm not mistaken, I think President-elect, I would say President, Joe Biden signed that law in Washington that groups of music is being sampled that the record company must pay. That's what I heard.
Wow.
Of course, after that, anyone sampling our music has to get the okay from the record company.
So I know a lot of that, speaking of the injustice of some things that happened within the industry back, where a lot of people weren't receiving what they were supposed to receive. Some of them, kind of cheated. That's why they was like, it's good to read the fine print of your contracts and know what you're signing and why you're signing it.
Right.
So I guess, do you see a difference now in the business side of it? Is it better or the same or?
Well, it's a little better for us because, we've been through it. We know what to do and what not to do. Like I said earlier, you live and learn,
Trial and error.
and then you learn to live.
That's true. That's
and,
the truth.
and those things you're not going to do again.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't change it because it was a good
Right.
Learning
a lesson
experience.
for us,
Right.
as we grew in the business. So
Right.
yeah.
How was it working with like a lot of the legendary artists like backstage? Was it like a mutual respect? Was the vibe like everyone looked out for each other? How was it back then?
It was a mutual respect,
Mm-hmm.
but also very competitive too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're going on the stage and you got to do your thing.
So you got to show out behind that.
Yeah, and the other groups have to
Top
do
dog.
their thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but it was a mutual respect to hit that stage.
That was good competition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it
Oh,
made
yeah.
you be on top of your game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were playing with groups like Ohio Players or
Ooh.
George Clinton, the P-Funk Mob, and